Well, let's go for the top five of
Okay.
life safety and the top five of EC. And these are my things. These are not in the past. In 2023, I did 18 or 19 hospitals. The top EC ones really, and again, using other people, not just facility folks, but what help can you get from your rounding, your EC rounding, and of course your village. All this EC 261, probably the most common of everything. 261 EP1, which is your stained ceiling tiles. And I like to stick around when I see a badly stained ceiling tile. And usually right behind us is the guy with the ladder, and he's got brand new ceiling tiles raring to go in. And I always watch them how they take it out. It's how you take that stained ceiling tile out. It's got all kinds of, could have mold growing on it, whatever. How are you taking that out and protecting the people in the hospital, the patients? Because there's spores on that. So if you start taking it out, and there's always airflow, it's running around everywhere in the hospital. Do you bag it immediately, or do you take it off? And every time they take it down, they put it down the base of the ladder, and they put the brand new tile. I said, whoa, wait a minute. Now that's an IC finding. What? Yeah, because there's spores there that just went everywhere thanks to you. Now, if you bag it immediately, and that's what the surveyor stands around. I always play Mickey the Dunce and say, well, I'm just waiting here, see what happens. And sure enough, he did. That's exactly what he did every time. You never know.
Yeah.
And you can see damaged walls. You can see the nurse cord, the pull station inside the bathrooms. It's wrapped around the. I said, this is stuff that really your environmental care committee or nurses or everybody else is walking around the hospital. If you see it, let us know. If it's a damaged wall or it's whatever it happens to be, rust anywhere. We saw some ceiling tiles with black mold growing on them. I said, doesn't somebody say something?
Yeah.
So that's one that the environmental care committee going around doing traces can really be a big help to you. The second one that's a lot of fun is EC 251 EP9. That came back to life again. That is the spares being in the on position, and that's a problem because you don't know what they're feeding. We're also finding that you have to label your main emergency shutoffs. So if you have a natural gas line coming to the hospital, is that labeled main gas shutoff? How about water? Main water shutoff, main power shutoff. So especially on a boiler room, you want to know where that gas valve is to shut if there's a crisis sometimes. So everything has to be, all your utilities should be labeled. The FDCs outside, fire department connections have to be labeled so people know how to find them quickly. And then we're seeing a lot of people just not doing it. So they go set it up.
I think especially obviously it's critical, but even more so some of that built in, and again, it's not a good excuse, but the person who might have known what that served, they could be gone. You're losing so much staff. How do you learn? You can't learn by trial and error.
Everything has to be labeled today. If you don't label it, your turnover is so great, you have to label everything. Where is the gas shutoff? Where is the main water shutoff? Where is electric? How do I kill power? So those are all important things that we just have to get out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's important. The third one was EC 255 EP6, and that's our favorite one. It's a lot underneath there. That has to be 100% of your non-high risk PMs must be done. That is a struggle for every hospital right now. The high risk and infection control, they try to get done because that's the first at the end of the month. They try to get it done. It's the non-high risk. Many hospitals are 60 or 70%, they're not 100%. You just can't get that. You don't have the staff. You're missing people. And let me tell you that, we contracted out, but the contractors are having the same problem that we're all having. They can't get the right people. They just don't exist. So, and they're in training, or they may not do the best job. When you have an in-house team, they have ownership and they want to make sure that it's done correctly. Well, somebody from the outside may not have that same ownership.
Are you finding, Larry, more PM slippage as we've? Yeah. Again, that's something you don't.
It's because they don't have the staff, and every time you hear it over and over again, don't have the trained staff, or it's been a huge problem. And this has been, there's many things on this EP6 is from blocked electrical panels, freezer temperatures, your emergency lights being done, egress lights. It's a lot of things that you have to keep doing all the time, and you may not have the staff for it. And that's what hurts everybody.
Yeah.
So it is a common finding. EC 221 EP5 is probably another one that's so common. That's your eye washers and showers. Are you really Do you really need the eye wash? First of all, do you have a risk assessment on it? And again, that's part of your team needs to do a risk assessment together. Make sure you get the 10 seconds. Make sure that I always like hearing that the staff that wanted the eye wash there actually every week checks it and actually does the PM. So they got a chance to throw the lever down. It runs it. You get a chance to see the caps blow off, and you keep it clean, of course, and make sure that it's tepid water from 60 to 100 degrees, all the right things. And then once a year, I want to see the annual PM done by facilities to make sure that it's the right flow with the 0.4 gallons per minute, the whole bit. So those are a common finding. And you would think that, by now we learned all this. No.
Yeah.
And there are eye washes everywhere. People have gone out of control. You're putting them for every reason. No. What are you doing? Well, I could get blood. Well, that's not what it's for. It has to be caustic or corrosive. So is the risk assessment. And yes, you can have it if the risk assessment and you all agree. And usually I use the EC committee because it's a multidisciplinary group that it's in the room, says, yes, they do need it, or they don't need it. So don't waste the money. So a lot of time and effort and maintenance. And the last one that's kind of that I've seen a lot of is EC 259 EP12, the O2 cylinders. It's not just the commingling and the unsecured. They got to make sure that if you have them outside, they got to be on. You don't want them sitting on the ground. You don't want them rusting away. You want to make sure everything is done correctly. And boy, we see a lot of. I've seen O2 cylinders on heaters in the room. I've seen them on stretchers on the top, on beds. You see holding open doors.
Really?
Oh yeah, you see the craziest thing. Is it
couldn't find a wedge.
That's a wedge. But those are really the top 10 that I see the most out there. And I think that's something that again, people could help you with that. If they see something like that, call. If you see somebody putting a bottle on top of a stretcher, shouldn't you say something to somebody and say, "Can I help you?
Yeah.
Can I move it down to something?" And the bottom of a stretcher, it's got an actual holder for the O2 cylinder. So it's an E-cylinder. Put it in the holder. Nope.
Have you found a full cylinder holding a door open?
Yes.
Really?
More than once.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Damn. So
you would be surprised. Some of the stuff you almost say to yourself, I can't make this up. And the people that are with me are taking pictures. And I said, gee, can I get a copy of that picture? Because that's really good. Because you don't always see that. It's craziness. But people are in a rush, and you have so many, and the clinical staff has changed a lot. They're constantly leaving and coming back, or we lost a lot after COVID.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of new people, and they're all learning. So mistakes get made.
Yeah. And it sounds, as you just listen to you talking, I'm sure you think this is as you're out there, it's not like you can't solve for one issue. It's multiple issues that all play a role in this, right? Everything from education to turnover to time. And it's a tough one.
And it's not just these findings. It's so much else that's going on. It's workplace violence. It's the active shooter and all that training. There's so many things going on in a hospital at all times and now you've got all the world situations that are going on that has people upset. So you got so much going on. Times are crazy.
And the hospital really it's the epicenter of the community, because everything that happens in society, if it's a negative, it's going through that hospital.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Healthcare Facilities Network.